Open up your ears, swallow down your gum, and grab your emotional support knitting. Because this episode, we're joined by a very special guest, and she deserves your undivided attention. Jami has been guest starring on every episode so far in her mind, and now it's finally happening for realsies. In part 1, we're getting into her ADHD journey from schoolyard crow to diagnosed adult. Ways she and her neuroticklish children address their inner Kevins, how DBT helps her manage her traits and embrace her strengths, and why Maine is objectively the best place to live.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn, and most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention, there's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather, weirds of a feather.
Well, whose bright idea was it to drink seltzer right before recording the podcast?
Oh, man.
And have a nice
Probably.
thick stew. Some good dairy
Some
before
nice
we record.
dairy with corn.
Yep, and lots of bubbles.
And lots of bubbles
Perfect.
just to, brew in the gut. On that note,
All right.
welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to Weirds of a Feather, an ADHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm Kristen Stanhope.
And I'm Grace Bray.
And today we have a very special episode because it's not just us. Today we have a guest. We're here with Jami. Welcome, Jami.
Welcome to me.
Jami's a longtime listener, a member of the Neurospicy Agenda, and a good friend.
Yep.
So we're excited to have her, and she'll be joining us for this episode. And the episode, beep. If you mess up, you can do that.
Oh,
The beeps are very unnecessary.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be a loud beep so I can see it on the spectrogram
thing.
but Kristen just goes beep, which is not kind of defeats the purpose.
Doesn't that help?
No, it
No?
doesn't. But I think it's funny, so keep
All
doing
right.
it. There you go.
Help? There
Yeah,
you
that's a good
go.
one.
Oh, my ears are bleeding now.
I don't need a beep either way.
You don't need a
I
beep.
listen to the whole thing anyways.
Okay. Well, it's a good
thing
thing you
someone's
told me
got
that.
Yeah.
65 episodes in.
Yeah, sorry.
Welcome, Jami. Welcome to our show. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't done a guest episode in a long time.
Quite a while.
Quite
Christopher and
long.
Ian don't count.
No.
No.
They're old news.
Bleh.
Bleh.
Wah, wah.
And this time we have a fun guest. So Jami is the one who made us those lovely mugs that we posted, right? On the
Yeah,
Instagram
we did
at one
post on
point?
them. Yeah, they're on there.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about those.
The mugs. And then what we didn't post was the candle with the warmer.
Oh, yeah, our candle warmer.
Oh,
Candle-
yeah, that's
I just
right.
used mine yesterday.
Ah, sweet.
I love my candle warmer. So we're going to get into a lot of stuff with Jami today, but first she has a warm-up question for us. Yes?
Yep, I do.
Yes.
So you're chewing gum.
Yes.
All right, I can picture it.
All right.
Yeah.
One piece or two?
One.
2.
Who does two?
Me. I do.
You do two?
I do 2.
What do you do?
Two.
Two,
usually.
You also do two?
I need to chew two because I need
That's
to
too
snap
much
or pop
gum.
my gum.
Yes, same.
That's too much.
Well, I can't do two right away because then it
Yep.
gets too big. So you have to chew one until it starts to shrink back down, and then you add the second
That's
piece of gum.
exactly what I do, Jami. And then you got a good place for blowing bubbles. Yeah, snapping.
Yep, get your snaps in.
One is not enough. It gets too thin.
And then you lose your flavor too fast.
Yep.
What brand are you chewing, first of all?
Any brand.
Any brand?
Most brands, yeah. Unless it's like a Hubba Bubba, I'm putting in 2. Hubba Bubba, you only need 1 because that's like the size of 2.
Yeah, but bazooka, you have to do half of one. Otherwise, you just cut your mouth up because the gum's so hard.
Yes. Yeah, that's a hard gum. And it loses flavor fast.
Yeah. Hard
Juicy
gum.
fruit, I'm going 2.
Really?
Yeah.
What
One's
about
just
Fruit
not
Stripes?
enough. Ooh, Fruit Stripes, that loses flavor the fastest.
I don't do a lot of fruit
about 12
gum.
seconds of
Chiclets?
flavor.
Do you only do one chick? Or do you
I
do
don't
two?
do chiclet. I don't like the crunchy gum. The gum that
okay.
has the
Like the
crunch on the
candy
end.
I like the
yeah.
crunchy gum.
Brandy
I
coating?
feel like I mistake it for candy too much and I swallow it.
You forget what you're doing. You just swallow it down. You love to
I
swallow gum
gum
anyways.
anyway, but I've gotten better since that episode came out because there's a lot of feedback. Apparently, so you're not supposed to swallow your gum.
It's not going to hurt anything.
It just comes out.
I don't think for like your body's reasons you shouldn't do it. I just think it's gross. It just seems like a bad, slimy texture to swallow down your gullet.
I mean, I've swallowed worse.
Right, and on that note, should we get it? Do you want to stand by that statement?
I do.
Okay.
All right.
That was a good warm up.
Yeah.
Should we get into our little accomplishments?
Yeah, maybe we should move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna do our song.
Yep.
Yes.
Jamie, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right.
You need the lyrics. You got them.
No, I've got this memorized.
All right.
Better than me.
I've been on every podcast episode in my head.
Yeah, you've been being interviewed the whole time.
Yeah.
Little accomplishments, but big in our hearts. All right. Jamie, why don't you start
She's
us
already
off?
doing better than me.
I know.
I'm a little jealous.
She knows the words.
She knows the words.
So she's already doing
The
better.
bar is really low, but I'm still upset.
Just got to limbo more. Okay, so my little accomplishment this week is I baked a cake from scratch.
Whoa.
And
What
I
kind?
actually, it's chocolate with coffee.
That sounds good.
Oh.
So you also had to make coffee?
I did.
How
yeah.
do you put the coffee in the cake?
You use it instead of water.
Oh.
Yeah. I make half calf in my French press every morning because I don't like the full caffeine.
Oh.
It makes me too jittery. Yeah, just use my leftover coffee that I didn't drink. And
That's a great idea.
use that in my
I
cake
wish
batter.
I liked baking.
I wish I had coffee.
I wish I lived closer. I'd bring some cake over after we
Aw.
got done eating it
That would
tomorrow.
be nice. I know. You already brought us so many lovely
know,
little ceramic
lovely
gifts. We'll have to
solid-
post those on the Instagram
We
too.
definitely do.
Yeah. You always bring us little treats.
Thanks.
Treats.
Well, congratulations on making that cake. For a special occasion or just because cake?
Well, shout out to my daughter Abby. It's her 12th birthday tomorrow.
Oh, what's up, Abby? Happy
12.
birthday.
It's a big year.
That is a
I mean,
fun year.
it'll be well past her 12th birthday by the time she actually gets
That's
to hear
all right.
this.
Happy
but that's
belated
okay.
birthday.
Yes. Sorry we're late.
We're late to the party. Grace, you are up next.
Oh,
What's
am
your
I?
little accomplishment?
Okay, so I just talked about dropping pictures off at Staples to get copies made of them. And I was proud of myself, and that was my little accomplishment last week. And I said, we'll see if I pick them up. Well, I picked them up.
Woo!
Yeah. So I had copies made, and then I picked them up.
There you
Way
go.
to go on the
I like
follow
this-
through.
yeah,
Right?
I like
I'm pretty
this,
proud
like,
of myself.
update
It
to
only
the-
took me like 5 days
There you go.
to
That's
pick
nothing.
them up, right?
When were they
That's the
ready?
thing.
They were probably ready in 5 days. So.
Yeah, they were ready in a day.
Oh,
But
we don't need to
I
know.
did it in 5 days.
There you go.
And I almost drove past it and drove home because I really didn't want to go in. And I was like, no, just do it. And I did it. I was really proud of myself.
You. That's great.
And now that task is complete.
Now you have all your copies.
Look at me making
Woo-woo.
copies.
Nice.
So are the copies like paper copies or are they photocopies, like on photo paper?
They're paper copies. I had them made on like nice art paper so I can
Okay.
frame them.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, because I made some of my like weird collage art for people and I gave them away, but I'm like, I kind of want those too. And so I made copies of them. So now I can have my own copies. And I got digital copies made as well. So I can have them like printed on other things if I want.
Ooh, like
Nice.
mug.
The world is my oyster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can put them on a mug,
Blanket.
hat,
Oh.
other
A
things.
Toilet paper?
t-shirt.
Toilet paper, sure.
Sure.
Put my art on some toilet paper. All right,
Yeah.
Kristen, what did you accomplish?
I made an appointment for my car because I have to have it inspected. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
very, like,
Yay.
felt like my father.
It's a real dad
It
move.
is a real dad move, but I am a dad.
Yeah.
Father of 3. So I've been putting it off because my inspection hasn't expired. Am I legally allowed to say that? I don't think the police are going to come for me.
And by the time this comes out, you'll be driving legally again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll be
there you go.
covered.
Yeah.
No crimes
And you know
happen
what?
here.
The lady, she was super nice. I was like, I think I'm past my inspection. She's like, aren't we all? And I was like,
You work here.
Well,
I'm
You
like,
should be.
man,
She's one
I
of
was
us.
a year
Yeah,
after my
yeah.
own heart. Like, thanks.
You should
She's
just
like,
carry a pocket of feathers around and give them to
Right, I
people when they're like
know.
so obviously in the wolf club.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Look us up.
yeah. I wish I knew her name. I'd give her a shout out. But yeah, I was like, oh, thanks for making me feel better. She's like, this happens all the time. And I was like,
Nice.
great.
That was
I
nice.
didn't tell her how many months I was overdue, but she'll figure it out.
She's definitely one of us.
Yeah. That's great.
Well,
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah. That was my little accomplishment. Burr.
Brr.
Yeah. Proud of you all.
Thanks for joining in.
Yeah.
All right, before we mosey on into the meat of our episode, which will be Jamie's ADHD Learning Corner, where we pester her with too many questions, should we do a little transition?
Ooh.
What do you have in mind?
Nothing at all. You got any
This
ideas?
is where your mind goes blank?
Yes.
The second
Every
you
single
say
time?
transition, my mind goes blank.
That's what we brought you in for.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
You're
we
the one with
usually
the
do a lot
ideas.
of ocean theme, but maybe we could mix it up.
Ooh.
Some seagulls.
Foghorn,
yeah.
nice, yeah.
That's a nice foghorn.
Someone walking on the sand.
Does sand sound like that?
I don't know. I do this every
Yeah,
time, and you
every
say
time.
that's not what sand sounds like.
I don't
That's what sand sounds like to me.
Okay. All right.
A little crunch.
The
Maine
little
beaches,
wave,
maybe,
like a
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, pretty rocky.
I guess so. Yeah, if you're on the Maine beach.
Hot dogs, get your hot dogs. Transition.
All right.
Okay. That was great.
That was a lovely, peaceful transition. I hope it
Yeah.
took you away to
To
a
the
better
beach.
place. Yeah.
to better place. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So,
New England beach.
all right, Kristen, why don't you, do you want to take the lead on kind
I'll
of
take the lead.
asking
Yeah,
Jamie
yeah.
some questions?
Yeah. So this, every guest has a story, and we're about to listen to Jamie's. Yeah. I don't really have I wish I had a
You
cute
don't need to do a
little
big build-up.
introduction, but I don't. So
It's Jamie.
yeah.
How's that?
Da, da, da. But yeah, Jamie, I guess we were trying to think of a better way to ask, what's your deal?
Yeah, like who you are and what your deal
Yeah,
is.
your
who
deal?
you are, what's
Like,
your deal?
what's your deal?
How'd you end up here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's going on? Why are you here?
But I think that's all we really figured out.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a better way to phrase it, but
Why don't you
What
tell
is
us
your- yeah.
who you are and
what your deal
what your
is.
deal is?
Yeah.
There's no better way to
There's
say
no
it.
better way. We'll never find a
all
better
right,
way.
I'll deal out some Jamie. That's
All right.
cool. Well, which part of I have so many questions. Like, what do you want to know about me?
That's the problem
Where
with
are you
this
from?
vague question. Yeah, where are you from?
Where are you
Okay,
from?
well, so I've been a Mainer for 11 years now.
Nice.
Oh.
I have not always lived in Maine, obviously, because I'm 41. And
Figured you
so
weren't 11.
I'm not 11. Especially since my daughter's turning 12.
That'd be weird.
That'd be weird.
Yeah. So I originally came out from Seattle, actually,
That's right.
with my daughter and my dog Fern.
Oh.
Oh.
And we had some friends that had moved to Maine, and they spent like a whole year on a campaign trying to get us to move out. And so we finally, I kind of figured, I was kind of looking down the barrel of like, what's single motherhood going to be like in Seattle versus, what the picture they're painting for me of what it could be like in Maine. And I was like, I'll probably
Less expensive.
have
Yeah.
better quality of life in Maine
Mm.
in general. Just there's less crime, less people. So
There are less people.
that's how I ended up out here.
And do you like it here?
I love it.
You
I,
happy?
Oh,
Okay.
yay.
I got off the plane. Like, I was only coming out for a wedding, and then a couple weeks before, I decided to change my flight to a one-way ticket.
Whoa.
It's very
That's a bold
impulsive.
move.
That's a
Yeah.
bold move. Yeah.
Bold, yes, bold.
Bold, not
Wow.
impulsive, bold.
And I just I felt like I was home as soon as I got off the plane. It was great.
We've both lived on the West Coast. I think there's a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, at least I missed Maine. That's why I moved back.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maine feels cozy.
It's a cozy place.
It is. You've got lots of seasons and
So many
Almost
seasons.
too many.
varieties of weather.
Yeah.
You've got a
Yeah.
lot of good big weather. You don't have surprises like earthquakes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Not.
Don't-
We have
Anya's
big
gonna get
weather.
our- don't use that term.
No, we can use
sparingly.
big weather. We use big weather. We don't say extreme weather.
Okay.
We have no extreme weather here in Maine. We have big
We
weather.
have big weather.
Big weather.
Brought to you by Big Weather. Well, we're happy you made that bold move to come to Maine.
Yep.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here. And so I've kind of done a lot of things since I've been to Maine.
You're a mother of two now, right?
I am, yep.
It's
Yep.
exciting.
So I've got an 8-year-old daughter, Sparrow. She was born in Appleton.
Nice.
Appleton, Maine. That sounds like a fairy tale. We were just talking about how you live almost like a Lifetime movie life because you are a ceramicist
I am.
and your
Ceramicist.
boyfriend, can I say
Ceramicist.
this?
Yep.
Owns a Christmas tree farm.
Yes.
Like I think
know.
that
It-
is
it's
that
a Hallmark
not a
movie.
Lifetime
Yeah,
movie?
come
in the
on.
Maine-
It's precious.
It's precious.
Yep.
It's precious.
Christmas tree farm and
Not
an
everybody
artist.
in Maine lives a fairy tale, but you do.
Oh, well. It doesn't look like that in the spring,
Yeah.
but
And then, so You are of the neurospicy community, correct?
I am definitely neurospicy. Yep.
Okay. And you're a suspected, correct?
So I actually got my ADHD diagnosis in 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
I had this really weird experience in the middle of kind of, lockdown where I kept losing my car keys and I wasn't going anywhere because no one was going anywhere. But like every time I needed to go somewhere, I couldn't find my car keys. And I was like, how is it possible that I never leave my house and I'm still losing my car keys?
It's either dementia or it's ADHD.
Yeah.
Like, I really, like, I actually thought I
Yeah.
had like early onset dementia. I was really worried about my mental health. And so I called up a therapist that I had worked with when I was going through my divorce a few years before and said, can you see me? Because like something's not right. And like I kept having like these really like big like meltdowns. At the time, I was just like blowing up. I couldn't figure out why I was like just fine one minute and then kind of like exploding the next. And it was really embarrassing.
Yeah, if you don't know what's going on or why it's happening.
And then on top of that, like I couldn't remember anything and I kept losing things. And so I called her up and I was like, I need help. Like I'm losing my mind. And she saw me and like within two appointments, she was like, I'm pretty sure you have ADHD, but let's do some tests and figure out for sure.
Were you thinking ADHD before she said that?
I had no idea.
Oh, really?
No. But the really funny thing is I kept sending my friend, I have a friend that I know has ADHD, so I kept sending her memes.
Like,
and I'm like,
loser.
I'm like,
and then you're like,
look at this.
dang
This is
it.
so funny. And she's like, And like, after doing this for like a year, I texted her and I'm like, these are so relatable. I'm starting to think I have ADHD. And she's like, you didn't know?
Thought that's why you were sending them.
Yeah, she thought I was
Like
sending
we
them
could
'cause
relate together.
Yeah. So that was kind of my first thought. And then I talked to the therapist and I was like, I don't know if this is it or not, but this is what, like, and she was like, oh yeah, no, you definitely have ADHD. So I tried to do the medication thing and they got me onto a non-stimulant. And I had a serotonin reaction to it,
Oh.
which I'd never heard of before, but it
Yes.
was really awful.
Yeah.
I felt like I took one dose of, I don't know what it was, an antidepressant.
Was it Wellbutrin or?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Wellbutrin.
Yeah, it was Wellbutrin. Yep. And I got really sick.
Wow.
And so I called her up and I'm like, I'm never taking that again. Like, is there any other? And I felt bad asking. I was like, can I try a stimulant? And I was like, she thinks I'm looking for drugs. I just know it. Like, I feel so weird asking for a stimulant. Like,
Did you add that to your allergy list, by the way?
No.
On your medical record, you should.
Oh, okay.
So you don't get it again.
I'll do that. Yeah. So
If you have a big reaction like that, you definitely don't want to like reattempt it.
that's good to know.
Mhm.
And she was like, no, it's fine. Like we just try the non-stimulants first in case they work. And she put me on like the lowest dose of like Adderall, extra, not extra strength.
Extended release.
Extended release. And I've been on that for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
First time I tried it, I was just like, whoa. I can hear my own thoughts. Like the chatter died down.
That's great.
And after that, it was actually really awful though, because all of a sudden, like I was able to do so many things that I'd been avoiding doing that it was like, I remember calling my friend and I'm like, I hope this like levels out at some point because this is horrible. I'm not doing anything fun anymore. I'm just doing all the stuff I need to do.
Yeah.
There's a
really
meme
relate
that
to that.
goes around that's like, or it's like I was almost going to say a Vine, but it's like it must be a TikTok. And it's like, I don't want to be put on medication. I don't want to lose my sparkle. And then they're like, the next scene is like the sparkle in question. It's just you doing some sort of like really impulsive, like almost harmful act.
Yeah. Or just like a crazy project that does not matter.
It's like, yeah, exactly. But it's it's important to do both. It's important to do the things that make you fun, but it's also important to do the things that you need to do to like live.
I relate to that too, though. When I got on Vyvanse, I was like, I can finally focus enough to do all the stuff I need to do. And then I really had to work on making time to do the fun stuff because it was like my brain just wanted to like get stuff done all the time.
Yep.
I was like, all right, I need to find a balance because just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, it took me about like kind of 3 weeks or so to level off. The first 4 days were the worst because I also like had so much insomnia because of the stimulant. And so I would just be up all night, like laying in bed with my eyes closed and my thoughts were just racing and I could not fall asleep. And then I wake up the next morning like how long do I have to do this?
Yeah.
But I decided to avoid naps and really lean into the exhaustion. And like I went for a run. I think it's the only time in 10 years I've gone for a run. I was like, I'm going to be so exhausted tonight. I'm not going to be able to overthink.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good strategy.
It worked.
So you have stayed on the same dose, and you
I've
just
been
feel
on
good
I've been
it?
on a low dose of Adderall for 3 years.
That's great.
One of my daughters has ADHD confirmed, and she's also on a low dose of Adderall. And it runs in my like, whenever your parents are like, oh, everybody does that. Well,
Yes.
it turns out that it's just your whole family of like neurospicy
Yes.
does it, and they
Yup.
just assume that's normal.
Yep.
Because like I think just about everybody in my family has some level of neurodivergent behavior.
Yeah, well, if that's all you've been around, you're like, yeah,
Mhm.
of course everyone has this insane system for where they keep their passwords. That's just like what adults do.
Yeah.
It's like, no. You're just not friends with any normal people.
Normal's overrated.
Yeah, normal. What is normal?
Someone I knew just was telling me about how their son was recently diagnosed and they really went through this like big thing of trying to get a provider for them. And I was like, well, I have to ask the question, like, where do you get it from? Like the mother or the father? And he was like, what? I was like, it's wildly genetic. And he's like, oh. Yeah,
Gotta go home and have a think.
Yeah. I was like, maybe we should, you need to go home.
Yeah. When you look back at yourself, like, do you recognize ADHD traits from yourself as a child, and probably like things that you're now seeing in your kids?
So,
too?
oh my gosh, yes. So my dad moved us a lot when we were really little. So it was always really hard to make friends and things like that. So I just kind of attributed like having difficulty maintaining friendships had more to do with the fact that like I was changing schools every single year.
Oh my God.
So I was always kind of
Wow.
the new kid. But like in 5th grade, we moved back in with our mom and settled down. And I met my best friend, and I had no idea how weird I was. And she told me a story. She was like, do you remember when we would be on the playground at recess and like what everyone would play, like the 4-square ball where they'd like bounce the ball back and forth to each other? I would literally be running around in the field, flapping my wings and cawing like a crow and like picking up sticks and building nests and things.
Hey, you were one of us before you even
from
knew.
the very beginning.
I was just like, how come no one else wants to be a crow today? And like, it was just like, I had to just run and move as much as possible. And like, I would.
And your teachers were like, that's just her.
Yeah,
That's
I was
fine.
just
She just
flapping
wants-
out in the field.
She just wants to be a crow today. Just leave her be.
Let her
Yeah.
fly.
Like, they didn't care. I was still on the playground property. So,
Yeah.
Make sure she doesn't fly away.
And then like for fun, I would go to the library and like just walk up and down the aisles and look for new things. Like, I think I taught myself like handwriting analysis, and I learned a lot about gray whales and just really random stuff because I like to read encyclopedias. But that's not something most kids do, apparently not.
No, I guess not.
So, yeah, I mean, it's always been there. It was just never really recognized.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially back then, I feel like, adults, teachers were just like, oh, they're just weird, I guess.
Really excited
Not
about
causing
whales.
problems, so we're not going to worry about
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. She's getting stuff done. She's reading the dictionary. She's fine.
She's gifted.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of anxiety too. Like I would like shake a lot during like timed math tests to the point where I couldn't finish the test.
Oh.
And I remember one time I was at a new school and the teacher said something like, turn to your neighbor and, do this problem. And I started crying and I was like, no one here's my neighbor. And they meant, the person sitting next to you, but I like Amelia Bedelia style. I was like, I don't have any neighbors in here.
That is very Amelia Bedelia of you.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my God.
How did no one catch this?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I wasn't lining trains up.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't fit the stereotype.
Oh my God. So you talked about you're on Adderall and you've been on the same dose for a couple of years. Have you tried any other therapies, like any like non-medication therapies or anything?
Yeah, I actually have. I did. So after I kind of got through the pandemic and I'd been on medication for a couple years, a friend recommended a DBT program to me in Maine called
What's DBT?
Dialectical Behavioral Training.
Oh.
And it's a form of I think it's the third wave of modern therapy approaches. It was developed in the 80s.
Oh.
And it centers around mindfulness, interpersonal skills, emotional regulation, and there's a fourth one that I always forget, and it's going to pop into my brain at the most random moment.
Must not be that important.
We'll insert it here and it'll sound supernatural.
Yep.
Okay.
Or not.
No, I got it. Now I got to actually look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, of course.
Cue the music.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, we haven't done that in a while.
We haven't done it in a while.
That's one of those things we did a lot, and then we just stopped doing it.
I miss it.
Cue the music.
Distress tolerance.
That's a good one.
Yep.
I feel like those are all important.
So it takes place over a year, and you do 3 hours a week of therapy. It's an hour.
3 hours a week?
Yeah, you do an hour of one-on-one and then 2 hours of group.
Oh, my God.
And that way you can kind of, and the 2 hours of group is like the first hour is kind of like everybody checks in and talks about, a challenge and a triumph that they had over the week. And then we spend an hour learning one of those modules. And it's not for everybody. It doesn't work very well with autistic neurospicy, because there's a lot of, imagine this and
put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Yeah, some of it can be kind of nebulous.
Okay.
But it's a very useful, it's skill building therapy modality. And that really helped a lot with the emotional outbursts and stuff that I was experiencing. And I can also kind of relate to my kids a little bit more when they're having hard times, because I can kind of be a more centered source for them to learn how to regulate their emotions and deal with their interpersonal challenges that they do in school and stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you see, speaking of your kids, do you see any of the traits that you share in your kids, or do you see that they have different traits?
Yeah, they're both definitely neuroticklish.
That's a good term.
One of them she did occupational therapy for a little while to kind of help with some of her proprioceptive and sensory challenges. And kind of not officially was told she's most likely autistic because of the fact that the therapist didn't want to put it on her permanent record. That was going to be a choice I could make personally without them making that unilateral decision, because it would follow her for the rest of her life. And then my other daughter is not officially diagnosed with anything, but she's just one of the flock.
One of us.
Yeah.
One of us.
Yeah, she's definitely she's a wofer.
Nice.
Wofer. I like that.
So you've probably had to learn how to not be so judgmental about your own traits now that you're especially seeing them for both your sakes, but now that you're seeing them in your child, I'm sure that's an added layer of difficulty of not beating yourself up and then not beating them up, not physically beating them up. I know you're
babies.
Yeah,
come here.
Don't punch your kids in general, but yeah, not being frustrated by what you now recognize
are stance is to not beat your children.
Hit kids.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I'm sure that adds another layer of having to manage all of those different traits and not be harsh and judgmental about it.
It's actually a lot easier now with the knowledge. There's a lot of power in having knowledge about yourself or about your children, and just that self-awareness. I mean, self-awareness is not a cure, but knowing we're doing this because of that. We've really gone hardcore on our inner Kevins. And
that piece of shit.
It adds a little bit of levity when we're having struggles, and it's hey, your Kevin is all he's climbing through the windshield right now. What can you do to get him back under control? And it kind of helps.
I love that.
It's so
my
great.
inner Kevin.
It helps a lot, and it gives us a chance to kind of laugh at the things that are kind of silly. I let them listen to your podcast. I usually try to pre-screen it ahead of time just in case.
Oh, yeah, we should
watch our tongues.
Yeah,
but it's not a family-oriented podcast in the first place. But I let them listen to it because it gives them a chance to kind of relate to this is the adult side of these things that we're struggling with, and gives them a chance to kind of laugh at themselves in a way that so they don't feel bad about themselves.
Yeah.
We can live this, and it's hard, and it's an explanation but not an excuse, but it also means we're going to have to try a little harder, and yeah, that's not fair, but that's just how it is if we want to survive in a world that's not built for us.
I hadn't really thought about that, about kids listening to us as adults struggling with these things or going through these things. And, because we do it on the flip side of like learning about, what kids are going through and kind of feeling better about ourselves.
But a lot of the stuff I read is about, like, especially the clinical trials are all based on like kids and what kids are going through. So it's interesting to hear like maybe kids could learn from our struggles.
Yeah, and also hear that like adults, don't have to be serious. Like you can also be a silly adult and still be
and we are
successful
adults.
and still, just kind of be still laughing at little mistakes. And I
probably should have made that swallow comment earlier is what I'm thinking.
It'll go over their heads.
Yeah,
they'll miss it.
It'll be like a Shrek movie. You know how much that
Exactly.
movie goes over the tops of their heads.
I know.
They're going to listen to this and be like, what's wrong with Shrek?
Yeah, what jokes are we missing?
You must be such a great mom because you've gone through all this. I mean, I think of our upbringing, and I'm not saying that our parents were bad parents. I'm saying that, like, they haven't gone through, like, the therapy and kind of working on emotional regulation and putting in all this work into yourself. And that way you can help, be a better parent and kind of understand this. And I don't think our parents weren't, like, given those tools because...
No, they have no awareness of
mental
their
health
own
wasn't
traits.
really a thing when they were growing up. And so I think, I know a lot of people are going through therapy right now, but I think of like the next generations, like your kids, and like how awesome that would be to have a parent who's like put in all this work into themselves, and therefore they can kind of like transfer all those tools and skills that they've learned onto their kids.
I mean, I try. Like, I want them to have an easier time navigating the world than I did. Like, I haven't really figured most of this out until like the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's really hard to go through your entire adult life just wondering why you can't quite get it when everyone else seems to be doing it. And, they're going to have their own challenges that I won't have an ability to prepare them for, but that hopefully I can at least bring a little bit of equality to their existence.
Yeah.
And also just like normalizing therapy. Like, if you can afford it or you have insurance or, even like I did my therapy through Medicaid. Our Maine care, because that was, it was an option for me because I'm a single parent. And like just normalizing, making therapy more accessible and, making therapy something that can help. It's not so stigmatized because like none of us get through life without experiencing some kind of a trauma that can, alter our path.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, absolutely. And like normalizing therapy, whether that be like, talk therapy or some sort of like medication therapy.
Yeah.
Or somatic therapy.
And then just all the different alternative therapies,
therapy,
occupational therapy,
arts.
Speech therapy. Yeah. Music therapy, art therapy.
What I've noticed we have a lot of, in the OR, we have a lot of like travelers, whether they're scrub techs or nurses or whoever. And a lot of them are of the younger generation, the Gen Zs or the younger millennials. And they're so open about talking about, like, I just upped my Wellbutrin or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy talking to a Gen Zer. They're so casual about it.
They're so casual. And I'm like, I love it. They're so casual. And they're like, sorry, I just had like a little mentee bee in the bathroom. And I'm like, oh my God, like, same. And they're so open about talking about mental health. And I'm hoping that we can all learn from them because I think it is important. And we can't all be, rocks that are just so stoic. And
we shouldn't be.
And we shouldn't be. No, because that's what makes us human. I think that's great.
Definitely. Shame festers in silence.
Yeah.
Whoa, what a line.
Oh, man.
Ooh, I just made that up.
We gotta put
Did
that
you?
on a
Yeah,
poster.
that's a good line.
We gotta put it on a poster.
Put it on a shirt.
Oh.
Or a hat. All right, did we ask about your biggest ADHD traits yet? I don't think we
No,
even
we
did.
end with that.
Oh, okay.
But I was going to ask it right now. We start with struggles, and then we end with the good ones.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think your biggest struggles with ADHD or neurospiciness in general are?
Oh, man, there's so many, like time blindness.
Yeah.
I really think that like we experience time in a completely different way than holistic-minded people do.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like an existential crisis when I was 16 that I was running out of time, whatever that meant. I had no idea, but I was like, I was running out of time at 16 years old, and I had daily breakdowns about it.
That's wild.
Just like couldn't.
There's no time.
Yeah, there's no
I'm
time.
A whole
I'm
16
running out
years
of
old.
time.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm running out of time for, but I am. And like that still could like just keeping track of like, wow, I can't believe I have to leave for 20 minutes to get to this podcast. Now's a great time to hem a dress.
Yeah.
Better start now. Yeah.
I've got time.
I do that too.
Yeah.
And it's annoying, you know, obviously on top of like the life frustrations, it's annoying because it feels like I can't get started on something because I know I'll get sucked in and then I'll lose my whole sense of time.
Yes.
So it's like you don't even want to start things that you enjoy sometimes because you know you'll just like lose the day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's so hard
Yep.
to
You have
manage,
to,
find
like,
that balance.
And then you're in
Plan a
waiting
whole
mode.
Yes.
day out.
I
Yeah.
hate that waiting mode.
Yep. So organizing my brain and activities around time is really hard. And then like impulsivity, like there's been like physical impulsivity problems that I've had over the years of like skin picking. I finally got my skin like under control.
Your skin looks great.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I started doing like a medicated prescription face cream.
Oh,
and
nice.
it like made a huge difference. And now I don't have anything to pick at, which is
Nice.
great.
You gotta get
Um,
one of those toys. They have a lot of toys that you can pick at now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw on TikTok there's a stuffed animal that has like little fur that you can pick
Oh,
out.
yeah, I saw that.
Oh, okay.
That'd be really cool.
I've seen ones where they do like clay ones where you can like dig the clay out of like the little divots and stuff.
Oh.
That would be a
Um,
nice one.
For me, I usually bring like my emotional support knitting with me.
That's a
So
good
I
idea.
have something to do with my
Oh.
fingers.
I like to do
That's a
that
great
with my
idea.
crochet when I'm watching TV because otherwise I'll be doing anything else with my hands.
I usually just fall asleep.
Yeah.
I do that too. I've fallen asleep knitting before.
You
That's
have?
fun.
Mid-stitch.
It's very
Stitch,
soothing.
just-
It turns into a mess. And then like financially, like, you know, bringing some light into things that I struggle with. Hopefully other people can relate. Like financially getting my budget under control and not overspending has, you know, been an on again, off again process. It's really hard because like there's the whole world available to me and like all the things, and I'm always going to want more than I can afford.
Yep.
Yep.
And, you know, having it isn't usually the part that I get a lot of joy from. It's like picking it out and
Yep.
collecting
Yes.
it.
Yep.
But that doesn't really help when, you know, bills still need to get paid and stuff.
Yeah, but you could have this thing now as opposed to this thing that's not now. And
Yes, well,
when
now
you
and
rather
not
have
now.
it now.
Like it's,
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so that's been a real big challenge. I kept a budget for a whole year,
Whoa.
and then my Excel spreadsheet filled up, and I had to start a new one, and I haven't
Oh.
done my budget in 2 months.
It's always like the littlest things like that. That's like the
Right.
smallest
Completely
roadblock.
derailed.
Yeah,
Yep.
which
Right.
totally ruined this great
Right.
habit you had.
So hopefully one of these days I'll get that going again.
You'll
'cause-
get it going.
Get
I
it.
believe
I
in
believe
you.
in you too. Yeah.
What have you
Budget-
found has helped you for like kind of getting yourself to get on track?
Well,
Was it you who posted on Tracy's Facebook group about a money finance podcast?
yeah, the financial feminist.
I saw your comment and I
With-
downloaded it. I haven't listened to it yet.
Tori
but-
Dunlap, she's amazing.
I gotta listen
She
to that.
like her whole thing. She's a theater major, but her whole thing is like empowering women through money advice that actually works for women, as opposed to like David Ramsey, which is very paternalistic and kind of misogynistic in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah,
you
a
can't
lot
do
of money
anything if
stuff
you have
is.
any debt, and it's like that's not realistic.
Yeah, or motivating.
Mhm.
Nope. If I always feel bad about myself, that doesn't mean I'm going to work harder to do better. I'm
Right.
sorry, but I'm just going to like go into maladaptive coping mechanisms and do things that are actually going to hurt me more, but feel better now.
Yep, buy things to fill in the shame.
Yep.
Yep.
It is a bottomless hole.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like taking the mental aspect of that shame out of money is like such an important big step for us, not just the spreadsheet organization, but
Yeah,
like
but-
being able to actually like open your banking app without like having a panic attack.
Yeah, well, I
Right.
put my banking app on my home screen, so every time I open my phone, I have the option to check my bank account balance. And just doing that more often means that, like, when I go into a store, I'm less likely to go, well, I have this amount of money in my bank account, but that was actually a week ago, and I've had 6 auto pay bills come out, and I forgot.
Yep,
So,
I fall in that trap.
yeah. So actually, you know, Tori Dunlap, financial feminist, she also has a book. Her information's really been helpful. Like, I use her budget spreadsheet. I used her budget spreadsheet.
You'll use it again.
Yep, I
Take
will.
a temporary break.
I printed out all my transactions for the last 2 months, and I'm ready to plug the numbers in. I just need to sit down and do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Getting set up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's half the battle.
That's definitely. And then Tracy at Suka's advice of like switching over to like the whole Apple family. I bought the Apple Watch, which meant I had to get the Apple phone. And then I had the iPad.
And this is
And then-
good financial advice?
Well, no, I didn't. I needed a new laptop.
What
It
did
was
she
just-
say
it was
about
just-
Apple?
Because a lot of the Apple stuff like ties into each other. So like with my watch, I can find my phone,
Yeah.
and I've got I can
Yes.
say into my watch, hey, S word lady, start a timer for this amount of time, and I can label the timer. So like in 20 minutes, my turn off the oven timer is going to go off,
I see.
and it's not just a 20-minute timer. I'm like, why is that going off?
It's probably
see.
nothing. Better
Yeah,
turn
don't worry
it
about
off.
it. Just turn it off.
Yeah, it's
Hit snooze. So that's helped a lot. Just like using tools to help organize myself a little bit better.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think? We ended on a high note. What do you think your greatest strength in relation to like ADHD neurospiciness is?
My greatest strength?
Mm-hmm.
Probably my ability to think outside the box. That has been treated like a problem by some people, but I have
They're the problem.
I have the ability to look at a problem and come up with, solutions that other people might not see.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's what we need more of.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah.
Plus, you've made it work for you. You
Yeah.
know, you do creative work, and I feel like the stuff you come up with, it's like, how'd you come up with that?
I know.
Well, that's just my hobby though. That's not even my work, but it fills in all the extra hours so that I can't pick my skin.
It's all just a plan to avoid picking your skin. Yeah, you have a lot of creativity and a good imagination, it seems like.
Thanks.
Yeah. And what we're also referring to is you're a ceramicist. Do you want to plug your website here right now?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
my website is fernyceramics.com, and that's like FERNY. Sorry. I had a little dog for 12 years, and her name was Fern, and we always
Aw.
called her Ferny.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I rebranded this year because I was my whole name, and it just didn't feel like it had flow to it. My brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a sweet rebrand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll put that website in the show notes and everything. So you
Yeah.
guys can check her out and check out all her stuff and all her earrings and everything that you make.
Yeah. You never know what you're going to find on the website.
And isn't that great for ADHD?
Surprise.
Yeah, it's a fun surprise.
You
Next
never
month it's
know.
urns.
Yeah.
Next month it's colanders. Don't mix them up.
And I think that kind of brings us towards the end of our show.
Yeah, for this episode.
Yeah, for this episode. This has been great. Jamie, thank you for being here.
Thank you for
We'll see
having
you
me.
next episode.
Yes.
If you liked this, you can follow, like, subscribe. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. There's a lot of different outlets. And if you want to keep this horse train going, you can donate to us on
ko-fi.com/weirds-of-a-feather.
Thank you for doing that.
Yep. You can
And-
follow us on Instagram at Weirds of a Feather. You can join our Facebook group. You can email us at weirdsofafeather@gmail.com. We'll also have probably Jamie's Instagram handle in the show notes. You can reach out to her if you liked this episode and you want to let her know and give her a comment and ask her a question or whatever. Yeah.
And if you don't have anything good to say, then don't say anything.
Yeah, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay?
Don't be rude.
There's no need.
Just move on.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, that brings us to our bird of the day. Our bod.
Our bod.
Our bod.
Nice
I
bod.
love your bod.
I picked a bod because I wanted something cute and I found it. We're doing the puffin today.
Yeah, we are.
So cute. So if you don't know what a puffin is, I don't know where you've been.
Probably not in Canada or Maine. 'Cause
Probably. It's everywhere in Canada and Maine, but it's this cute little black and white bird that lives at the coast on the North Atlantic Ocean, which is basically Canada and Maine. And a fun thing is they have like this orangey yellow beak, and after mating season, it sheds its like hard beak to reveal a smaller, softer beak.
Whoa.
Yeah. Why?
So
we don't know.
Puffins are
I didn't.
shedders also?
I guess,
guess
so.
so.
Yeah. I didn't look into why. I'm sure there's a reason. But we'll never know.
Does that change how they sound?
I wonder.
That's a
I
good
don't know.
question.
We're
Should
gonna
ask
take a
puffin
listen.
scientist.
Yeah.
And
Puffin
you,
scientist.
If you're a puffin scientist,
I know you're listening.
Yeah.
Lots of you out there. I know you're all fans.
please
Let us
email
know.
us.
Or if you just know a lot about
If
puffins.
you know a lot
if it's
about
your special
puffins,
interest, maybe.
Yeah.
Where's like a 11-year-old out there whose special interest is puffins?
Oh.
Let us know, 11-year-old.
Let's listen. Grace and I kind of listened. We pre-screened, and we think that this is a bird sound we can do.
Well, let's not
I'm
set it
feeling
up.
confident.
you're qualifying a lot.
All right, why don't you pause it? Jamie, you go first.
Do your best.
Pressure's on.
You got it.
We made a lot of promises.
Yeah.
I don't.
The people need to know.
Ah.
That was pretty good.
That was
I think that
That's
sounded really
great.
good.
Yeah.
Hopefully the puffins enjoy that serenade.
I'm sure the puffins will enjoy. That one's a puffin questioning things.
What's going on here?
He's like the detective at the scene of a crime.
It sounds like my dog after she ate a full meal.
Yeah. Moaning and groaning. All right, pause that.
Oh.
You do sound like grumpy old man.
Like, I don't agree with that.
Get off my rocks.